Hello, everybody. It's Ken Davenport here. Welcome to Get Produced, brought to you by the Theater Maker Studio. If you are looking to get a show produced, you are in the right place. Welcome. Doors are open. People are flooding in. Thanks so much for being here tonight. I so appreciate you being here. I can see people are still coming in. Just like the theater, we will always go up just a little bit past the official curtain time. Welcome if you're just joining us. Welcome. Let us start off by seeing who is here, and we'll start with me. Hey, everybody, I'm here, and you thought this wasn't going to be video. Welcome. If you are here, give me a good shout out in that chat. Give me a hello in that chat. Hello, Laura. There's the first one to break the ice. Welcome to Laura. Hi there to Andrea. Patty, Joshua says, boom, I love it. If you are chatting right now, do me a favor, make sure you have selected all panelists and attendees before you type. Make sure you've selected that. I see a bunch of you saying hi just to me, because I'm the only panelist. I hate to break it to you, just me tonight. If you just selected all panelists, go back and do your entry again. Click that to button, all panelists and attendees, and then repeat what you just said. I know, there you go. Hi. Hey now, says Sam Hill. Hello, hey, Laura is here. Dustin, look at everybody in the house tonight. Welcome to everybody. Thank you so much for being here. People are still actually pouring in. If I'm looking this way, it's because I have another monitor this way, so bear with me on that throughout the evening. Welcome. We still got some folks trickling in. Hello, Dan. Hello, Tammy. Hello, Nick. Hello, Dorothy. My daughter is reading and watching Wizard of Oz, Dorothy. So sorry, I'm sure you've never heard that before. It's like people going to me and saying like, Ken, it's like Ken and Barbie. I'm sure you hate that. I'm sorry, Dorothy, but you're in Idaho. Look at that. Idaho is in the house tonight. Hope everything is going well over there. Hello, Peep says, Markle, Rebecca's here, Sean's here. Let's do it. Yes, let us do it. Thank you for saying hello. Thank you for saying where you're from as well. I love we've had people all over the country and all over the world. Once again, if you missed it, I am so thankful that all of you are here tonight. Tonight, we are going to talk about how to get produced, how to find a producer, get your show on stage in 12 months or less. Yeah, even in a pandemic. I'm going to give you a strategy for that. And it's Markel, says Markel. Thanks for that pronunciation help. So this is my favorite subject to talk about. So I talk about a lot of things. If you know me, if you listen to the podcast or read the blog, I talk about a lot of things. This right here tonight, my favorite subject to talk about. And the reason it's my favorite subject to talk about is because very simply, it's about getting more theater out there in the world, right? If I can empower you, teach you, help you get your shows up on stage where I know you all want them, you will get more theater out there in the world, right? So look, I very simply believe the world is a better place if there's more theater in it, right? There is only more theater in it if there are people like you making it. That's why tonight is so fun for me and exciting for me, because the stuff I'm going to talk about, we know it works. And if you execute on the strategy that I'm about to teach tonight, then you will get produced. You will get more theater in the world. The world will be a better place. A plus B equals C, or whatever the math should be there. So here is my promise to you. And look, this is a tough time for theater. Let's face it. Okay, this is a tough time for people who do what we do. But I so appreciate that you're here for yourself tonight. You're here for the theater. So again, I'm here to help you see your shows on a stage. For those of you who have scripts on shelves or in drawers, we're going to talk about how you get them up. I want to see your names in playbills. I want you to win awards. I want you all to be able to quit your day jobs and do theater full time. I want all that stuff for every single one of you. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight, is how to achieve those things that we dream about when we close our eyes. And I still do it too. So my promise to you, by the end of the presentation tonight, my promise, you will have a plan to get yourself produced. You will have a plan by the end of tonight, okay? No BS. I don't care if you've never been produced before. I don't care if you don't have any connections. I don't care if you've never even written a show before. It doesn't matter. I'm going to show you this plan so that you don't need any of that stuff. So many things that you probably think you need, you don't. What you need is a plan, a strategy, and then some action behind that. It's a blueprint. That's what I'm going to show you tonight. It's a blueprint, a strategy that I've followed and a whole bunch of other very successful people, people a lot more successful than me, have followed. Okay. And when you follow this plan, you will get produced. It's that simple. It is the step-by-step formula that I've used and other people have used. And I know it's weird to think of art as a formula, but every single thing in the world is a business. Every single thing. In every business, there is a science behind it. There is a strategy behind it. Trust me. Okay. You follow this plan tonight, you will get produced. I can say this because it's not only happened for me and a whole bunch of my friends and peers, but it's also happened for a whole bunch of other people that we've helped with this very specific strategy. Okay. These are a few of the success stories of people who have followed this plan, who have gotten produced, who have gotten New York Times review, who won awards. Kit Jan just won $100,000 for the Kleban Award. We did one of his first readings. People have gotten great reviews, gotten agents, all that stuff following some of the strategies that we're going to talk about tonight. So whether you want to get produced for the first time, maybe again, you have an idea in your head or you have a script on your shelf or in your drawer, this webinar is for you. Or if you've been produced before, some of you out there I can see, I know have been produced before, you want to get produced more often. Maybe you want to be produced on bigger stages. You want that agent, you want stars to do your show. This presentation tonight is for you, okay? It's for you if you want these things. Before we get into that, for those of you who don't know me tonight, you're gonna get to know me. But let me just tell you a little bit about myself, my resume, my CV, if you will. I'm gonna go very fast with the slide because I don't like talking about myself too much. I am a two-time Tony Award-winning Broadway producer and author of award-winning musicals and plays. I've produced 25 Broadway and off-Broadway shows that grossed over $750 million all around the world. I was the executive producer of North America for Andrew Lloyd Webber's Really Useful Group. And remember, I was talking about business. I'm very proud to say my company was one of the Inc. 5000 fastest growing companies in the US right before COVID. Right before COVID. You want to know more about me, just Google Broadway producer and I'll come up. Okay, you can read all about me. But the key thing to know about this slide, what to know about this slide and the CV and the resume is that all of the credits I've ever had on my resume, all of it, all of the things I've ever done, all of the things I ever will do are because of the strategy that I'm going to talk about tonight. Okay, it's all because of this plan, right? Now, before we talk about this plan, I do want to talk about the elephant in the chat room, okay? Let's deal with this elephant right now. The big question I get from so many people, so many theater makers around the world is now the right time? Is now the right time? This is an excellent question. And also, since a couple of people raised their hands, I can see that already. Do me a favor, if you have a question, we're going to save questions for the end. I'm going to get to every single one of your questions tonight. At the end, throw it in the Q&A section on Zoom. Pop it in there, type your question. I'm going to go through them all. I promise I will get through every single one as long as it's not about politics. No politics, anything about the theater or just about everything else I will answer. Go ahead and put it in the Q&A portion. Don't put it in the chat. That chat tends to fly by very quickly, okay? And excuse the motorcycles that are going by Times Square. I am just a block away from Broadway right now. You can probably hear it right outside my window. So this question I get a lot, is now the right time, right? It's no secret that Broadway shut down, which is why there are motorcycle gangs driving by and down Broadway right now because there's no traffic. The theater is shut down almost all over the world, although we're starting to see signs of it pop back to life. Australia, London's been on again, off again, but it looks like it's coming back. Texas, I don't know if anyone here from Texas? Texas, they may have a lot of things going on very, very soon. But again, the question is this the right time? Is this the right time to invest your energy, your time, and so much more into it? Or should you just wait it out, right? You made it this far. Should we just wait and see what happens when the world wakes back up and when the theater's lights are fully on? So the answer to this question is actually in 3 more questions I'm going to ask you. Okay. Oh, hello, Texas. Hello, Texas. Hope you're doing okay, Bruce. Keep wearing your mask, Bruce. Keep wearing that mask. Three quick questions for all of you. Interactive portion. So get ready. Question number one. Do you think the theater will return? Do you think the theater will? Look at that. Yes, yes, yes. Of course. Finn says yes. Yes, says Lenny. Yes, yes, yes. Of course it will return. Question number two. They get more difficult. When do you think the theater will return? When do you think the theater will return? Give me some whens. Give me some whens. June 2022, summer, December 2022, 2021. I hope this fall, November 2022, this year. Good question. Fall 21, says Suzanne. Okay, now third question. How long does it take a play or a musical to develop? How long? Years, weeks? When it's safe, that's the answer to the previous question. Years, 3 years, depends on the show, depends. Give me some averages, you depends folks out there. 4 months. Wow, Dorothy, that's fast. 4 months. 1 to 2 years. Maybe Dorothy was talking about when we're coming back. 2 years. On average, it takes 3 to 5 years for a play or musical to get from the page to the stage. 3 to 5 years. And this guy right here, Lin-Manuel Miranda, one of the most famous theater makers we have, will tell you it takes longer. It took Hamilton 8 years. 8 years to get all the way from his idea on that beach when he was reading that novel all the way to his Broadway opening. So now just think about it. It took him 8 years. Average is 3 to 5. Most of you just told me the theater was going to be back in months. In months. Because fall 21, that's really the right answer for New York, for Broadway. And I expect that a lot of places around the world are going to be up and running before here, because we have a lot more challenges here than all around the world. The density, the old theaters, all that. It's one of the reasons why Texas will open up before us. Again, I don't know about right now, but because their venues are bigger, they got more open air there, right? They got more space. We're going to take a little longer, but we're still going to be back in months. In months. And you just told me it takes years. So now the next question is, do you want to get ahead? Do you want to get ahead? Or do you want to fall behind? That's the question. Do you want to get ahead? Oh yeah, says John. Way ahead, says Richard. Or do you want to fall behind? Because look, you know what most people are going to do right now? Most people, they're going to do nothing. Most people will do nothing during this time. They will wait. They will just sit back and chill, Netflix and chill, right? Wait for it to be over, right? Now, you know what will happen to those people who wait and do nothing? Anyone know? Can you guess what will happen to those people who wait and do nothing? Let me show you exactly what's going to happen to those people. It's on this slide. That's what's going to happen. This slide is totally blank and empty on purpose. Don't check your screen or there is nothing on the screen, because nothing will happen to all those people who aren't here tonight, who didn't sign up for this, who didn't show up to this, and who will do nothing. Just sit on that screen for a second. That's what happens when you do nothing. And is this what you want? Ask yourself, is this what you want? And look, I don't know about you, but the most important lesson of this pandemic for me, and partly because I lost my dad in the middle of it, but the most important of the lesson of the pandemic for me is that life is short. Life is a lot shorter than we think, a lot shorter. And oh, by the way, it takes years to develop things. So we better get on this thing, because how many more 3 to 5 year cycles do we all have left? How much time do we have, right? We have this opportunity right now. In fact, Stephen Schwartz, one of the most successful theater makers on the planet, said this to me. We can look at this as an opportunity that we've been given a gift of time we might not ordinarily have. Stephen Schwartz said this to me March 24th, almost a year ago, right after Broadway shut down. This, what Stephen is saying right here, is what the smartest people in our business and the smartest people who want to be in our business are saying, and more importantly, doing. They are not waiting. They are working. They are taking action. Charlotte, I'm glad you saw that. That's what they're doing. Exactly what Steven's doing. Steven's still cranking away as well. When I spoke to him, he was writing a musical 12 days after the shutdown. So now, to answer your question, and the question of so many theater makers, is now the right time? There has never been a better time. Never a better time. Because a lot of the folks right now aren't doing it. This is when you can get ahead. This is how you do it. And also from a purely a business perspective, as I said to Deadline just a few weeks ago, and I was interviewed about what I expected Broadway to look like when we got back, I think the world is going to effing party like they've never partied before when this is over. They're going to go to vacation on vacations. They're going to go they're going to buy stuff. They're going to zip that credit card. They're going to go to the theater. They're going to go to the theater, right? How many people out there are like, I can't wait to go on vacation. I can't wait to go to my favorite restaurant. Well, if you're a theater fan, you want to go to the theater, and that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. And I don't want you to miss out on this. I don't want you having regrets. In 10 years, I don't want you in the same spot you are now, wishing you had time. There will be people, believe it or not, there will be people 10 years from now who go, oh, I wish I had that time for that pandemic back. I don't want that for you. I want you on a talk show couch 10 years from now saying, the turning point in my career, Jimmy Fallon, the turning point in my career was the pandemic. When everyone else was on their own couch waiting, I didn't. I did something about it. So I'm going to tell you what you should be doing during this time to get ahead over the next 45 minutes. I'm going to teach you how I went from being a total unknown to getting my butt on Broadway, and how you can too. I want you to get your show of yours to Broadway if that's what you want. If off-Broadway is where you want it, we'll talk about how to get it there. Off-Broadway, a high school theater, your local theater, a sidewalk theater, wherever you want, this can apply. Wherever you want to get a show up, we can make that happen. You want your name in a playbill? This strategy will work. You want your name on a marquee? You want New York Times reviews? I want you to get royalty checks, right? I want you to get checks from productions of your show all around the world, and you're like, they're doing my show in Sri Lanka. I didn't even know that, but I got paid for it. That's the kind of stuff I want for you. That's the kind of stuff I want, because let me tell you, when it happens, it just happened to me today. It just happened to me today. I'm going to pull this out right now from my trash. I got some checks from shows and cast recordings and things that I didn't know I was going to get. And let me tell you right now, they come at a good time. They come at a good time. These are the kind of things I want for you, right? I want you to hear that thank you speech for your Tony Award that you've practiced. I know some of you have practiced. I want you to be able to give that, right? Now, a lot of you are probably saying like, this is not realistic. It's not realistic. Come on, Ken. I'm telling you, it is possible. It's totally possible because it happened to me, and it happened to a whole bunch of other Tony Award winners before me. In fact, let me just talk about this objection that it's not realistic, that you could win a Tony Award or get your show to Broadway or any of it. Do you know what you have, every single one of you have in common with all Tony Award winners? Do you know what you have in common with all Tony Award winners? There was a time when they were not a Tony Award winner. That's right. There was a before their after. Right? There was a time when they were just like you and they were thinking, I want to win a Tony Award. I want my name in a playbill. I want royalty checks, right? Says Suzanne. There was a time where they weren't getting those things. So of course it is possible. Now look, I need to give you a very official legal disclaimer before we go any further. It's a very expensive slide because it came from my lawyer. You will not win a Tony Award by the end of this webinar. Okay, you will not. That I can guarantee. You will not win a Tony Award by the end of this webinar. Theater is not like a microwave dinner. Okay, you can't just pop a show in the oven and out comes a Tony Award. Trust me, I've tried this. So no, you will not win a Tony Award by the end of this webinar. But I can also promise you, you will be closer to winning a Tony Award by the end of the webinar. Just by showing up tonight, you're actually just a little bit closer. And everything you do in pursuit of your theater making and theatrical goals gets you a little closer. You may not be able to see the progress, but every time you research something, click something, every time you take action towards your goal, you're closer. And tonight we're going to get you a heck of a lot closer. A heck of a lot closer to your name in that playbill, or seeing your name on that marquee, or in the New York Times, or whatever it is you want, getting an agent, getting produced. You're going to be closer because you're going to have a plan. You're going to know what to do. And you're going to do it, right? You're going to do it. You're going to follow through. Because look, I have to be, yes, says John, thank you. I have to be honest, you're always going to get the straight shot from me. No time for bullshit in this business. The truth is, it takes a heck of a lot of time, passion, perseverance, more time, and more time to be a success in this business. And you need to make a commitment. So listen, we're going to do something right now. I'm going to ask you for this commitment right now. So if I show you this plan tonight, if I show you how I got produced, how other people did, I speed up the process for you, do you promise me that you will take action towards your goal? Do you promise me? If so, give me a big old yes. I promise, says Richard. Absolutely. Yes, 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 yes. Fantastic. Fantastic. This kind of, I got you, Ken. I love it. This kind of commitment is super important. Super important. Because honestly, this business is too hard. And to be honest, I don't even want people on these presentations that I do who aren't committed to making this happen, who can't say that big yes. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of my time, right? I got lots of other things I can do. I got a to-do list over here like a mile long, right? And the funny thing is, because this is like Zoom, I can see when folks drop off the webinar. And a lot of folks who do these kind of webinars and presentations and educational seminars, a lot of people go, oh, their like ego is bruised. Like, oh, someone dropped off. I bored them. I wasn't funny. They don't like my now white hair, whatever it is, right? Like they don't like that. I'm like, see ya, peace. If this webinar isn't for you, for whatever reason, if you're not committed, that's fine, fine. I only want people here who are committed. You are committed, just do it, says Ron. Big yes, says Sean. So let's keep going. Now, my mom always taught me, whenever you invite people over to your room, right, having a sleepover or whatever it is, give them a gift. You're in my Zoom room now. So just for being here tonight, I'm going to give you this collection of these best-selling books that I wrote that are on Amazon.com. You're going to get them for free. You're going to get a link to them at the end of this webinar. Stick around and we will show you how to get those for free. And because this is like a new year, it's still New Year, right? It's March 3rd. Because this is a New Year's version, we're going to give you a little bonus. We're going to give you our action journal. This is a custom action journal with entries for every single day that you can write down what you need to do, how you need to do it, all the things that you can do that will nudge you along the way. If you don't journal, by the way, this alone is going to get you so much closer to your goal. This is a huge part of what I did when I was at a big turning point in my career. You're going to get this for free. Stick around. Charlotte says, thank you there, or journal. Yeah, I think that's thank you. So stay tuned to the end of the webinar. Now, for a lot of you out there, I recognize some of the names. I know this is not the first time you've thought about getting produced or finding a producer. Maybe you've tried several times. Maybe you have that script that's in a shelf or on a drawer. How many of you have scripts out there already done? Raise your hands. Or how many of you have several scripts that you have not gotten produced yet? Writing it now, says John. Fantastic. We'll help you finish it. Several, says Nick. I do, says Dandy. Writing one now, says Finn. Markel says me too, says Laura. Lots. Several and some uncompleted. I'm going to help you with all this stuff tonight. For those of you who are still working on one, for those of you who several, these kind of thing, the strategy we're going to talk about will apply. Look at all these shows. So this kind of stuff actually like drives me nuts, because the fact is, my two least favorite words in the English language, unrealized potential. Unrealized potential. And that's what's sitting in this chat room right now. The next Hamilton, the next doubt, the next proof, the next, who knows? Joshua Moody's got a one-man show. Could be I Am My Own Wife right there. Could be true. Who knows, right? It could be in there. We only know if we get it produced. So we're going to help make this happen for you. But I do need to be honest with you. And it's about why you haven't found a producer. If you have not yet found a producer, if you haven't yet gotten produced, if you think you failed, I'm here to tell you it's not your fault. It's not. For all of you out there, to Cedric, who says just need to get produced, it's not your fault that you haven't been. Frankly, there's just not a lot of information out there about how to do this. And I know, because I was just like you when I started, and I couldn't find jack on it. It's why I started my blog. It's why I started the podcast. It's why I founded the Theater Maker Studio, to help people just like you achieve the goals and the dreams that you have about the theater. And the stuff that's out there, a lot of the stuff that's out there is just wrong, or it's written by people who haven't actually been produced. You have to get this information from people who have done it before. Me, someone else, I don't even care. Just make sure you get it from people who have done it, because those are the ones who are most likely to show you how to do it, right? When I started, there wasn't this kind of thing. And again, I know because I looked for it. But really, the big thing that has kept so many of you from getting produced are those damn gatekeepers. How many people have noticed that we have a few gatekeepers in our business, right? Looks like everywhere we turn, agents, artistic directors, some of my producing peers who might hate that I was doing this right now. Luckily, many of my producing peers don't know how to use the internet, so I'm probably safe. There are gatekeepers everywhere, everywhere. You need the right degree, you don't have enough experience, which is the ultimate catch-22. How do you get produced until you get produced? Like, it doesn't make any sense, right? How many of you heard any of this stuff? Anyone hear these kind of excuses? You can't do, yes, yes, says John. Yep, yep, says Ben. Well, here's the thing, okay? I didn't have the right degree, the right agent, or the right anything. No MFA, no connections. I didn't grow up on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. I'm the son of an Indian doctor, for goodness sakes. I had absolutely nothing to start with, and I still got produced. I still got to off-Broadway first, actually, then off-Broadway and Broadway, got my name in that playbill, got that show jacket. I had a tour jacket. Like, I felt that was the coolest thing. That was like one of my big goals growing up, which is why I know you can too. Gatekeepers be damned. In fact, for those of you who have experienced gatekeepers before, you're going to love this new quote from a recent TikTok sensation, Abigail Barlow, who says it's a very exciting time for the theater. The gatekeepers are no longer in power. The people have the power, and that's the exciting thing. And she's the composer on TikTok. You may have seen or heard her stuff. She's getting a lot of attention for Bridgerton the musical. And what you don't know, we'll talk about later, is because of her work on TikTok and Bridgerton, she's been signed by big agents. Lots of things are happening for her, right? And the people have the power is a lot of what we're going to talk about tonight. This is another reason why now is the perfect time. So if you've been concerned in the past that you don't have what it takes to get a producer or get produced or find a producer, let me put those fears to rest. You can do this. You just need to know the 3 secrets to get your show produced. And if you haven't looked for a producer, we're going to save you a whole heck of a bunch of time, right? Because if you know these secrets and apply them, you actually do the work and you committed to doing it. Remember that. I'm going to remind you that all night. You'll take that average of 3 to 5 years to get a show on stage and cut it in half. It's possible. It's possible, right? You'll get all those things you want in a quicker time just by following those secrets. You'll be able to get produced, you'll be able to look yourself in the eye, maybe look your parents in the eye or your family members or your friends and be like, I told you I could do this. I am good enough. I am good enough, right? Maybe some of you even need that validation for yourself. Like, you stare at your computer sometimes and you're like, I don't know if I have what it takes. We're going to help get you produced so you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I do have what it takes, because deep down, you know you do. You know you do. And this plan and this strategy is going to help you do just that. But there is one very important principle you must know, this guiding principle, this overall philosophy that you must know in order to get produced. Here it is. To get a producer, you have to learn to act. Let that sink in for a second. I'm going to explain to you exactly what I mean by this by telling you what I did to get produced, how I started, my origin story, if you will. And let me start by also saying that this philosophy, right, that I follow, right, this is like the Bible for me. I did not write it. I did not come up with it. I learned it from this man right here. Hal Prince. He's won 147 Tonys, Phantom of the Opera Suite. You know who he is, right? You know who this guy is, okay? He's the one who passed on this philosophy to me. And if anyone knows success in the theater making business, it's this guy. See, there was a time where I was exactly where you are now. I was you. I had a ton of ideas. I had scripts in my drawer. I wanted to create shows just like you do, right? But I didn't know what to do. I had no idea what to do. But I had the opportunity to sit down and talk to this guy. And I spent like 15 minutes with him pitching every single idea I had ever had for a musical. I pitched him Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I pitched him a show called Mole People, which is about the homeless population who lives in the subway tunnels of New York City, which is probably the worst idea for a musical ever, but he listened to me. And in the midst of me pitching, in this 15 minutes of pitch, he stopped me and he said, Ken, stop talking, start acting. That's what Hal said to me over 21 years ago now. 21 years ago. And he wasn't talking about me being an actor. See, I spent a lot of time in those 15 minutes talking about my ideas, a lot about talking about the things I wanted, right? And it was time to start acting. Hal energized me that day. He pressed the button that got me moving and taking action. So I went home that day and I had this little idea for a show. It was an interactive show. I developed it with actors. I got us all in a room. I was acting now. It was working. I was creating a show, right? Sooner than later, we had finished that script, like I know so many of you want to do, right? I finished that script. Now what? I needed a producer, right? That's what you do. Someone, I saw it in the chat. I need a producer now. I need a producer. That's the way things happen. So I looked for one everywhere, anywhere. And I couldn't find one, not one. And I looked for a long time in a lot of nooks and crannies. And it was harder to look back then. It was harder to look 21 years ago. This sound familiar to any of you? You need a producer, you look, you can't find one. Well, eventually I land on my therapist's couch in tears because I couldn't figure out why I couldn't find somebody. I was all alone. I know a lot of you out there feel alone at night. You're staring at your computer, wishing you could find a community of people like you who knew what you were going through, who are going for the same things, right? I couldn't find one. In tears, I knew what I had on paper was good. I knew it would work. I just knew it. Like I know all of you feel about your shows. You just know once it gets on a stage, it'll work. And then through that therapy session, actually, I owe her a thank you in a Tony speech someday. Through that therapy session, through a lot of working, through thinking about how, I discovered two things that changed my life that I'm going to share with you right now that are going to speed up your search for a producer, right? And there are two things that producers will never tell you. Number one, they don't read scripts. They don't. That's the truth. Maybe, if you know someone who knows someone who knows someone, you'll get a script, they'll read a few pages, they'll read 10 pages, they'll read 15 pages, if you are lucky. But most producers just don't have time to read scripts. They just don't. Second, most just don't have imagination. That's right. And they certainly don't have the imagination that you have, right? They can't see inside your head. This was a big moment for me when I realized, oh, I can't find a producer for my show because they can't see it. They can't see it fully realized in the way that I can see it, right? I'm sure you've been frustrated. People, you're pitching your show and they're like rolling their eyes, or they read the script, you get someone to read it and they don't get it, right? They don't have the imagination, and most importantly, they can't see what you see. So when I came up with those two things and realized, oh, they're not going to see it. They're not going to get it. I remember Hal again. To get a producer, you have to learn to act. So I acted, not literally. I cobbled together some money. I found a space and I put this script up in a very minimal way for 4 weeks. And then I showed it to people. And you know what that funny thing is? All of a sudden, investors and producers started raising their hands, asking me to be involved in the show. Some of the same producers that I've been trying to get to read the script were now like, I want to be a part of this and I want to work with you, right? The show ended up running for 10 years, 10 years, made a heck of a lot of money, got me my first writing credit, my first director credit, my first New York Times review. It got me started. It was the domino of my theatrical career. There was a show called The Awesome 80s Prom. The Awesome 80s Prom. And I got it all because I listened to Hal's advice and learned to act. And if I hadn't done that with Hal, I wouldn't have written 5 more off-Broadway shows, a Broadway show, a pilot, a web series, produced like 20 or 25 more, written a screenplay, all because I took matters into my own hands and acted. And I know you're saying, Ken, that's you. You're you. You're different. This has not only worked for me and the others I told you about at the beginning of this presentation, but it's worked for a whole bunch of other people, including a guy, and I think I saw his name in the chat, he might be here, including a guy named Rich Roy. Rich, if you're here, give us a big shout out. Rich walked into my office one day. He had a script he had written years before. It was sitting in that drawer, right, Rich? And wondering, there he is. He was wondering how to get it off the ground. And we helped him do just that, a lot with the strategy that we're going to talk about tonight. We helped him implement, and boom, you can read what he said right there, right? And this kind of thing, what happened to Rich, can happen to you. All if you follow these 3 secrets to get your show produced. These 3 secrets, right? They are, number 1, what your high school English teacher knew about getting produced. That's right. Number 2, how to get producers to chase you instead of you chasing producers. And number 3, how to greenlight your show whenever you want it to be produced instead of waiting for someone else. Wouldn't it be nice to do that instead of having to wait for someone else to greenlight you or say yes? These are good secrets, right? This would be good stuff to know. So, and as promised at the end, I'm going to do a Q&A. Throw those questions in the Q&A box. I see some of you are commenting in the Q&A box. Make sure you put your questions in the Q&A box, comments in the chat box. I will answer every single question you have along the way. And that's also, I'll give you that link so you can download those books. Okay, you with me? Let's go. Let's get to it. What your high school English teacher knew about getting produced. Okay, now you saw what I did with the Awesome 80s Prom. We told you about Rich Roy, our special guest star tonight. I told you about some of the other successes, but what I did not tell you is that this is not the path that most theater makers take. This is not it, okay? This is actually the path that most successful theater makers take. See, the usual course of events for most theater makers is they wait. They work on a show. They wait for someone to come around and pick up. It sits around for years, 3 years, 5 years on a shelf, and they wait and wait and wait. I call this the knight in shining armor theory, right? They're waiting around hoping that knight will arrive and whisk you off to a land of Tony Awards and royalties. And honestly, like, because that's the way it should be, right? Like, we should write something, create something, and then someone should just do it. I used to think that way all the time. It's what I thought with my first show. But that's not the way it happens. I mean, let me just break that to you right now. It's not the way it happens. And it didn't happen for the 3 Tony Award winners I'm going to talk about right now and talk about what they did to achieve the success, including that guy we mentioned at the top of tonight. No one read a script of In the Heights. Lin-Manuel Miranda's first show was like, I'm going to do this show and we're going to put it on Broadway. That's not the way it happened. It certainly didn't happen that way for Hamilton. Can you imagine reading the script of Hamilton? You'd probably be like, I don't get it, right? No imagination, right? It's really not that we don't have any imagination. It's hard to see what's in the genius mind of Lin-Manuel Miranda or any of you. It's just difficult, right? So what Lin-Manuel Miranda did was start doing his thing in a basement at a bookstore not too very far from here. And someone saw him and was like, this is an artist, this. And they didn't, by the way, just pick it up right then and there and move it to Broadway. That's not the way it happened. But by showcasing his talent, he got people interested in him that held his hand and pulled him along the rest of the way, and the rest is history. What about these two, Pasek and Paul? They put their material out on YouTube in the early mid 2000s. They started with a song cycle. They got friends of theirs to sing them. They were good. They put it together. That song cycle became a review. That review started to get done, all because they put their stuff out there on YouTube. They were showing themselves to the world, right? The song cycle leads to James and the Giant Peach, A Christmas Story, Dogfight, and then Dear Evan Hansen, and then La La Land, Greatest Showman, right? All started the first domino. Remember, I talked about my first domino. The first domino being putting their music out on YouTube. And what about Lisa Kron? Lisa started appearing in short autobiographical plays. She wrote the plays, she started them, she put them out in the world. The next thing you know, she writes well, goes to Broadway, she writes Fun Home, she's a Pulitzer Prize finalist, right? And I know you're saying, oh, these are these big Tony Award winners. I'm talking about the time when they were just like you before they were Tony Award winners, right? It happens to regular people all the time. I told you about these folks at the top, right? And this stuff can happen to you as long as you act. So many people come to me prepping pitches. Now, look, learning to pitch is very important. God, if I had only learned to pitch better when I had that 50 minutes with Hal Prince. Learning to pitch is super important. It's something we teach. It's something you have to learn. I always tell people, imagine you're getting on an elevator with me. I hit 2. You have to get your pitch out before I get off the elevator, right? Before you do that, you have to take action. You have to get that pitch across, right? But the fact is, you're not going to get me by pitching. You don't get a producer by pitching. You get a producer by performing. Because we know producers don't read scripts. We know it, which is fine when you think about it, because plays and musicals weren't meant to be read. Just let that thing sink in for a second. Plays and musicals were not meant to be read. Right? They were meant to be seen and heard. That's what makes it difficult for people like me to read a script and say, this one, I want to do it. I'll tell you another little secret. I have never produced a show just based on reading a script. Never. That's not the way it happens in the real world. That doesn't mean we don't submit. That doesn't mean we don't send scripts. We're going to talk about strategy about that later. But it's not the primary reason why people get produced. And that's why the secret that your high school English teacher knew about getting produced, show, don't tell. You've probably heard this old adage about writing. Hopefully you are using this in your writing, but this goes to getting produced as well. You have to show people what your show is. You can't just tell them about it. You can't just expect them to surmise it from the written word. So how do we do that, right? How do we do that? I'm a big, very practical next step type of person. So I'm going to give you 7 ways right now, 7 ways to show and not tell, okay? Follow with me, write them down, take a screenshot. Number 1, you can do a reading, right? You can do a reading, get people in a room, do a reading. Number 2, you can do a Zoom reading. Physical in-person readings right now are obviously challenged. You can do a Zoom reading or a streamed show. This is a very economical way of doing readings right now. Readings in New York City, first class readings can cost $25,000 to $50,000. You want to do a big Broadway reading when I do one, right? Smaller readings can cost 10, 5, a couple thousand. Zoom readings can cost $50, nothing, depending on what your budget is, okay? You can do a concept album, right? This is something also through the democratization of production has gotten much, much cheaper. You can do trailer or video demos to show people what you've got. What about a podcast or an audio version? Even that's better than purely the written word. I can listen to it on the treadmill, right? Or as I'm scooting to my office in the morning, my commute, right? This is becoming we're seeing a lot of success with the podcast player, podcast musical, by the way. You can do a festival production. This is huge. So many shows, including Altar Boys, one of my first, made its debut at a festival, was noticed at a festival. A bunch of shows have moved because of going to festivals, right? You got to submit to these suckers. This is where submitting is very important, because I'll tell you a little secret. Producers may not read scripts. You know who has to read scripts? People that are running festivals, they got to read them all. They got to read them all, right? You should be submitting to every single festival there is out there constantly, because that's an easy way to get your show validated. Getting in a festival is like getting a good housekeeping seal of approval that actually makes people like me go, oh, maybe I should read 10, 20 pages of that. And then if those first 10 to 20 pages are really good, I just may keep flipping. And where producers like me see a lot of shows are at festivals. Okay. Another way, I said 7, local theater production. All of you, no matter where you are, you're in Idaho, you're in West Virginia, you're in Florida, you've got local theaters in your backyard. Start a relationship with them, right? That's how you get to Broadway. You don't just start here. There's a road, there's a path, and it might start with the theater in the backyard, in your backyard, because you have a relationship with them. Okay. Now, 7 ways to show and not tell, right? I'm a big homework guy too, and an action guy, right? You have to learn to act. You have to learn to act. I'm going to give you a homework assignment after every single one of these secrets. Which one of these 7 ways are you going to use to show and not tell? I want you to think about that for a second. Which one of those things that I just described could you use to show and not tell? Everyone got one? Bought a web domain last week. Great. Packing it with, that's a way. A website is a way. It's a way. You need to see that list again? You want to see that list again? There it is. Which one of these are you going to use to show, not tell? TikTok series, great. YouTube channel. Zoom reading is brilliant. I'm great, Nick. I'm glad you like it. All this stuff. Podcast version, awesome. Write that sucker down. What step can you take today towards achieving that goal? Ask yourself that. Prepping podcast, started a new LLC, great. Taking action, one little step. What step can you take today? Keep it going. An action a day gets you produced tomorrow. That doesn't rhyme, but you get the drift. You get the drift. That's secret number 1. Pretty nifty. Look at all that stuff. Research, trailer, new Twitter. These are all great steps. All great steps. On to secret number 2. Let's get, wow, I zipped ahead. How to get producers, I'm getting very excited with all this action you're taking. How to get producers to chase you instead of you chasing producers, right? This would be good, right? If we could get people to come after us like I did and had people raising their hands. This nothing better when your phone rings and someone says, hey, I'd like to talk to you about your show instead of you having to call them. Well, look, the first time that I did a reading for a show of mine, no one showed up. The first time I tried to show people my show, no one came. No one came. My mom did, but she had to come. I drove her. But no one else came. It was like 2 people in the audience, right? And when no one comes, is it really even a show? It's like that old cliche, if a tree falls in the woods, does anybody hear it and doesn't make a sound or whatever that thing is? Is a show if there's no one there to see it? I don't think so. And again, this is one of those things. We put a show up, people should just go. We know it's good. Well, it's tough love time. Tough love, more of it from me. Like I said, I will always give you the hard truth. How many of you have seen this movie? How many of you have seen this? If you know this movie, if you've seen this movie, give me the big cliche of the movie in the chat. Go ahead, toss it in there and tell me what it is. That's right. If you build it, they will come. And now let me tell you all that if you build it, they will come is bullshit. It is bullshit. It is great for a fantasy movie with Kevin Costner giving a bad Midwestern accent. Fine for that. Makes me weep every time. But when it comes to getting your show produced and getting people to show up, it's bullshit. The fact of the matter is, just because you build it doesn't mean anyone will come unless you market it. That's right. Getting producers to chase you is about marketing. It's about marketing. Every single thing must be marketed and not just your show. And this is the difference between whether people come to see your readings, your production, your Zoom readings, whether people actually watch the stuff on TikTok, attend the, like all the stuff that you're talking about doing, right? We need to build an audience for it. The audience is the energy that will get you produced, right? We need to build that momentum behind it. This is where you're going to find your investors. You know that like 99.99% of investors You know what they also are? Theater goers, theater fans. That's what makes up the investor base. They are not some mythical group of people that live in some fantastical land. No, they're people in the audience of theaters, right? So when you build an audience for your show and you get people to come to your readings or watch your YouTube channel, just like Pasek and Paul did, that's where you're going to get your supporters. That's where you're going to get them, right? You can see how marketing would help. Now, the good news is that most theater makers out there, this is a huge advantage for all of you. Most theater makers don't market. This is, again, a place where you can get ahead. And this is why you must, because other people aren't doing it. They're just not. They're not doing it. And when other people aren't doing something, that's when you should be drooling, going like, ooh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this so much because I'm going to just speed ahead of everyone else and cut that time in what it takes to me to get my show to market, right? And that's the key. That's the secret. How to get producers to chase you instead of you chasing producers? You have to market to them. Everything, including you and your show, must be marketed. And let me tell you something right now. I invite people, that's marketing. That is not enough. It's not enough because that's what everyone's doing. That's what everyone's doing. If you read my blog, if you know some of the marketing initiatives that I've been known for over the years, I'm constantly doing things that people aren't doing because that's what gets attention. That's what stands out. And what stands out is what sells. And you are trying to sell your show to audience members, to investors, to producers. And how you do that is through smart, savvy marketing, right? Smart, savvy marketing. I'm going to tell you right now, 10 things you must have in your marketing toolbox. 10 things right now, okay? 10 of them. You ready for it? Another list. We're going to get practical and specific, I told you. You got to have a website. You got to have a website. Some of you may have it. Someone grab the domain. I love it. It's a great, easy win for you. You've got to have a website for your show. It is your storefront. I just told you you're trying to sell something. Every company on the planet who's trying to sell something has a website. You have to have one as well. You have to have an email list. This is so easily overlooked, especially in the age of social media, but so much more essential. I saw lots of you talk about a TikTok series and Twitter. Great. We're going to get to that in 3 or 4. But the fact is, no one, I don't think, said email list. No one said email list. Email is actually more important than social media. More important. So make sure you build out that email list. Social media, there it is. You have to have it. It's part of it. It's branding. It's awareness. It's fun, right? It's free. Audio demos, especially if you're a musical or plays doing audio podcasts, you need these, especially if you're a musical. If you don't have demos for your show, you're at such a disadvantage. Music is the root word of musicals. Why do you think someone is going to invest in or produce your show? Because of the music. They don't call it a bookical, right? Arthur Lawrence was very famous, was a book writer and a very difficult, irascible book writer. He often said that the music was the soul of a musical. You have to have demos. Actors and creative team. What are they doing in your marketing toolbox? Every person you have on your team, you get access to their network, right? The people you choose to have around you are going to help spread the word about your show. They're going to be talking about it. So choose wisely. Choose wisely. Think about that when you hire people. Your invitation sequence. A lot of people go like, what is this? You're doing a reading, a Zoom reading, a production, anything. You don't just invite people once. There's a set number of times that you invite people that will achieve better results than just that one. And there's also a number that is too much. We found a sweet spot for it. There's also follow-up. This is a science. It's advertising, it's marketing, every single part of it. And that's why I say you and your show must be marketed and everything around your show. Photos, you got to have photos. I've had so many websites for shows. You know what the #1 page viewed on websites are? Photos. Whatever name of musical / photos, that's where people click. So why Instagram exploded because of the photos. People love the photos. And I believe that Instagram will actually continue to grow and be bigger than TikTok. I don't think TikTok is going to eclipse a site that also focuses photo and video. Networking. This is part of your marketing. What are you doing to put yourself out there in the world? Are you going to galas? Are you going to theatrical conventions? Are you going to seminars? Are you going to all sorts of things where you're meeting other theater people and using them to help you? Bouncing ideas. Are you doing, this is part of your marketing toolbox. This is part of your marketing toolbox, okay? Direct mail, yeah, it's not dead. Sending postcards, sending letters, sending packages. This is part of it. This is part of it. Video trailers for your show, huge part now of what we have to do. Having some kind of video, whatever it may be, to add to your toolbox. Now, here's the most amazing thing and why I talk about 10 tools you must have. You can see, I'm sure, that one of these things would be powerful. It's exponential when you add them all on top of one another. It's a media mix. When you've got a direct mail and you've got email and you've got social media and you've got videos and you've got, it just explodes in your awareness and increases the odds of someone showing up, reading your script, investing, all the things you want people to do. My job here tonight, my job with everything that I do is just to increase the odds of you getting produced. And I know that having these things will definitely do that. So homework, end of the second secret, your act. Which one of the tools from your previous list are you going to add to your marketing toolbox or improve if you've got them all? Okay. I'm Chronicle. Oh, John, that's a cool one. You're part of it. Oh, thanks, John. Website and demos, great. Which one of the tools from the previous list are you going to add to your marketing toolbox? And what step can you take today towards achieving that goal? Right? Don't just say, this is what I'm going to do. Now say, what am I going to do it? I'm going to dig out all my old business cards and put them on an Excel sheet and then upload that Excel sheet to MailChimp. I'm going to email Alicia Network. I'm going to call 5 theater makers and be like, hey, what are you doing? Here's what I'm doing. Like, great. All this stuff is fantastic. Massive database, subscribe to me, great. All of this is great. Keep it up. This is a parlay. This is, the more you do this, the more momentum you create, and you create, and you are increasing the odds that you're going to achieve your goals. Okay. Now, secret number 3, how to greenlight your show whenever you want it to be produced instead of waiting for someone else. Now, look, if you follow the pattern of the last couple secrets, you know I've been waiting to the end to tell you what the secret is. You probably figure it out along the way, but I wait to the end. I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off right at the top of this one and give you the secret right away. Okay, you ready? How you greenlight your show? Be prepared. This is not for the faint of heart. Raising the money yourself is the easiest and fastest way to get produced. And like immediately I could feel the Zoom tension just go like this, right? I know many of you are saying like, what? I can't raise money. I don't know any money. I hate money, right? This, whenever you talk money with anybody, relations, like everyone gets a little, no, this is the golden ticket. This is it. Now, Kevin, quoting the producers, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. Never put your own money in your show. First of all, I think that's bullshit. If you're not willing to put your own money in your show, if you're not willing to invest in yourself, how could you ever say to someone, invest in me? You got to be willing to put skin in the game. But that's a whole other thing. Remember, the producers was a comedy. I have some money, says Tammy. This is great. Great. This is the easiest and fastest way to get produced, right? Now, again, I know many of you have been probably saying like, I don't know how to do that. I can't do that. That's not what I do. That's not what I do. Let me ask you some questions. Okay. You know me, I like to ask questions. I'm a curious individual. How many of you know how to ride a bike? Go ahead. Anyone know how to ride a bike? How many of you have learned to cook? Especially during the pandemic, even I can make waffles, eggs, and a quesadilla for my daughter now. How many of you have learned to cook? Yes, yes, yep. So many sourdough starters, says Kevin Lawson. You are speaking my language. My wife has got so many sourdough starters. Do you name your sourdough starters? Our sourdough starters are named Tom Hanks and Lily Tomlin, by the way. How many of you learned how to cook? Great. How many of you learned how to speak another language? Oh, lots of laughs for Tom Hanks and Lily Tomlin. I love it. How many of you learned how to speak another language? Any of you out there, you speak Spanish, you speak French, anything? I speak a little French, Spanish, starting Greek, geek. Richard, did you mean Greek? Pig Latin, Ozark, Greek. There we go. Yeah, so here's the thing about raising money. Like riding a bike, cooking, yes, sourdough starters, or speaking another language, or any skill out there that can be learned. Raising money can also be learned and mastered. And frankly, if you can get a sourdough starter going, you can do this. I know you don't think you can, and I didn't either when I got started. My first show, I had to raise $20,000. It might have been 20 million, but I figured it out. I figured it out. A lot of trial and error, which now I've passed on to people like you, so you don't make the same errors that I did. After 20,000, I had to raise $1 million. I've raised like $50 million over the course of my career. And let me tell you, it was exactly like learning how to cook. It was exactly like learning to play golf or learning to speak French or doing anything else. There were things I had to learn. There were things I had to do, and eventually you do it. And I'm not the only one. We've taught a whole bunch of people how to do that. A whole bunch of people, these principles and these techniques on how to raise money. And look, the other thing that I will tell you, for those of you who are feeling reticent about raising money, which again is the easiest way to get your stuff on a stage, let me ask you this question. How many of you have seen a bad play or a bad musical? How many of you have seen a bad play or musical? Or used a bad product or a bad movie or anything bad? How many of you have seen or used something that was just not good, right? Here's the thing about that thing. Lots, many times. Yep. Here's the thing about that thing. Someone raised the money for it. Someone raised the money for that play, that musical, that product, that movie, that wherever it is that you look back and go like, how did this even get made? Someone learned how to raise money for it, was very passionate and made it happen, which leads me to my golden rule of raising money. This is a mantra I use all the time when I am raising money and I hit a wall. How am I going to do this? I can't do this. I can't do this. Here's what I think. If someone raised money for something that sucked, surely you can do it for your show that doesn't suck. That's it. It's really that simple. It's learning these techniques and this strategy to go like, wait, that thing was awful and that got made. My show isn't awful. It isn't. And you can do it too. So yes, the third secret is very simply to know that raising money yourself is the easiest and fastest way to get produced. And look, if you do this, if you learn how to do this, you can get produced anytime you want. You can greenlight yourself, or it will increase the odds of a producer being interested in you. Because you want me to take a double take about doing your show? Here's how. Let's just role play. You say, Ken, I would like you to produce my show. I say, I'm very busy right now. I've got a lot of other shows on my slate. It's very hard for me to dedicate time. You say, I can raise the money. I can raise half the money. I can raise 3/4 of the money, a quarter. I guarantee you I at least go like this. Really? And you've extended the conversation. So this is a skill that I believe all entrepreneurs, all theater makers should learn. And by the way, some people say that, well, I'm the writer. So what? In my mind, you are the founder of your own company, right? And founders of companies, from Steve Jobs to Sarah Blakely to Mark Zuckerberg to Jeff Bezos, to the most successful leaders of companies on the planet, they all had to start by raising money. That's what they had to do to get their products to market, right? Now, let me just tell you some technical things about this. 2 things you need to know before you start raising money. 2 things that will help you raise money faster. Number 1, you have to know how much you need. You have to have an understanding. In other words, you have to have a finish line. Like, I'm sure you can say, like, how many of you know how long a marathon is? How long is a marathon? Anyone run a marathon, by the way? Let me just give you some props because that's something I will never do. How long is a marathon? Give me something in the chat. Someone tell me how long a marathon is. 23 miles, 26 miles, 26 miles. Here we go. 26, 26, right? You know, and these people, 26.2, 26.2, there it is, the 0.2, 0.2, 0.2. People just knew what the finish line was. Some of these people have not, I guarantee, have not run a marathon, but they know the finish line. Knowing that very specific 26.2 miles helps you finish. Knowing how much you need to do your Zoom reading, to do that real reading, to do a festival production, to do whatever it is, will help you raise it faster. You need to know your finish line. So that's something you can do, okay? Number two that you need to know is you need to know how you're going to take the money, right? One of the most tragic stories of my career, and it wasn't even my career, a young man came into my office, as young men very often do, a little too confident, and he was pitching me his show like crazy. And I had a feeling he was pitching a little prematurely. I had a feeling that he couldn't take my investment if I wanted it. So I decided to play a little trick. It was a mean one, but I think it helped in the long run. While he was pitching, I pulled out a drawer, put my checkbook on the table, picked up a pen, and said, "I'd like to invest. Do you have the paperwork?" Silence. Look of shock and awe on his face because he wasn't expecting it. He wasn't expecting it, and he actually didn't know what to do next. So he stuttered and stammered and, I have to get back to you. He didn't know what to do, right? You need to figure out how you're going to raise it. Are you crowdfunding? Are you nonprofit crowdfunding? Are you just kickstarting? Are you getting front money? Are you doing full production documents? What are you doing? And by the way, you need to know how much you need before you do the following, right? Before you do the following. So act, determine how much you need for your next step. What is your next step? And it may be $500. It may be 5,000, maybe $1 million, whatever it is, figuring out what you need, creating a little thermometer. You can't see it over here, but I have a giant bulletin board. Whenever I am raising money, I put one of those like United Way thermometers right there. And every day I just shade it. It's the most cathartic thing. Shade it in as I get closer to my goal. That's going to have a number like of $50 million on it in about a year as soon as this pandemic is over. So determine how much you need for your next step. And then, of course, we always end these action items with what step can you take today to learn how to legally accept these funds? Very important. Very important. I don't want you to get in front of a producer and get that 15 minutes and then not be able to accept those funds. Okay, got it? Recap, 3 secrets, show, don't tell. Everything, including you and your show, must be marketed, and raising money yourself is the easiest and fastest way to get produced, even though it may seem like the hardest. It's the easiest and fastest way. If I didn't raise the money for my own shows at the beginning, I might never have been produced. I might still be searching for a producer, waiting for that night to come. Those are the 3 secrets. So let me ask you another question, okay? I hope you can see that if you follow the plan that I just laid out, those 3 things, right? If you got your show up, if you showed it to people, if you got yourself in front of people, just in the same way that Lin-Manuel, Pasek and Paul, Lisa Crone did, I did, so many others, you got it up. If you got people to show up, right? To watch your YouTube channel, your TikTok series, attend your readings. And if you used other people's money to do all that, so you could do it bigger and better, more talent, right? Better spaces, more marketing, more advertising. If you did these 3 things, you can see how all of them would increase the odds of you getting produced, right? Put it in the chat if you agree that these things will help. Just go ahead and do me a favor. Yes, great. So I'm glad you think that. And I know you're committed to taking action on this. So I trust you all, you're going to do this. Now, look, obviously there's a lot more to these 3 secrets and this full strategy, then I can deal in an hour and 12 minutes. We started a little late. So in an hour, I can't cover everything in an hour. I try to get in as much as I can. I like to talk. I love to talk about the subject. So I go on a little bit. But really, it has been my goal to show you that by applying these 3 things, getting produced is possible. And you've just said it. Getting produced is possible. All those things you want for the scripts on your shelves is possible. Getting it out there, your names and playbills, all that stuff, provided you execute this plan and follow that strategy and do all those things that you said you were going to do and so much more. Now, some of you, I'm sure, are feeling a bit like this, right? They're feeling like, yes, this is amazing. You're very welcome, Sandy. You're inspired. But this is what happens a lot at this point when I start talking about strategy. They wonder, like, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. How do I fill in all the holes? How do I connect the dots? Where do I start? How do I start? So I get this question a lot. I actually produced a show with Will Ferrell in it, which is why I love this slide. I do get this question a lot. So I'm going to ask you, it's been a little over an hour, but I want to ask, is it okay if I spend 10 more minutes with you and I'll share with you an offer from the Theater Makers Studio, which I founded, that will help you execute this plan and this strategy? Of course, yes, yes, yes. Great, 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 great. Awesome, awesome. So let me just tell you a little bit about it. If you don't know, I think some people obviously know about it. If you're a member, thank you for being a member. For those of you who are not, let me explain it to you. It's an online learning platform and community. This is where we differ from so many other places out there, including Masterclass itself, with one guaranteed mission to get you produced. That's what we do. That's what we want to do. We've had hundreds of members over the past 5 years and growing actually every single day. So during this pandemic, we took a look at the Theater Makers Studio. We revamped a whole bunch of stuff. We have like 6 new masterclasses coming on this month. And what I did, I said to my team, look at the most successful members of the studio over the last 5 years. Find the ones that were the most successful and find out what tools, resources, the things that they did that helped them get produced, and put them, like, wrap them up in a special pandemic package and put a bow on it. So we can help theater makers right now when theater makers need it most, when they want to get produced, when they need to get produced, and when obviously this is a tough time for the theater. So we call this the Get Produced in 12 Months package. That's right, Get Produced in 12 Months package. Thanks, Priscilla, who's a member and says it's a great resource. I love it. So this is a very specific package designed to get you started again with the most valuable resources we have that we know works. So right off the bat, you're going to get the Stage 1 membership, which is a $470 a year annual plan. You're going to get that right off the bat. What does that include? It includes a script mastery course, especially for those people who said, I'm not done with my script, I just started. This is for you. You're going to learn how to finish it, and you're going to learn how to finish it. So I promise you, it's going to be better than if you try to finish it on your own. So you're not only going to finish it, but it's going to be better just with this alone. Remember I talked about Zoom readings? We now do them twice a month. Members submit their stuff, and we will do Zoom readings of your stuff. Here's the cool thing. You can invite anybody you want. They don't have to be members to attend. So you can invite the world, producers, all sorts of people, and it looks like we're producing your show. We're producing a show. Yes, Sherry Lynn. Sherry Lynn wants this already. If you're a monthly member, you will be able to get this package. So just stay tuned and I'll reveal all. But yes, members, this is for you too. Whatever helps you get further along, we're going to provide for you. Get group coaching calls with a playwriting expert. Remember I talked about that invitation sequence? That's one of those execution plans we're going to give you. Tells you exactly when to invite people, when to follow up with people, different types, what to say in the subject lines to get people to respond more, all sorts of stuff. Here are some looks behind the scenes. This is a masterclass with Jack Vertel, who literally wrote the book on how to write a musical. This is one of my favorite. Every week we tell you the submission opportunities that are available to you. Remember I said you must submit to as many things as possible. There's actually a direct correlation from the number of places you submit to and the success of a theater maker. The more you success, it's like a numbers game. The more you submit, the more you submit, the more you're going to increase the odds of your success. And we teach you how to submit smart, because submitting is also part of marketing. Okay. This is one of a shot of the courses. There's some instruction on raising money right there. And a few more of those testimonials for people. There's everybody. Rich again, Lynn, Scott, a whole bunch of folks that talk about the success they've had with Theater Maker Studios, including an email I got just a little bit ago. Someone saying, I'm really loving the Brilliant Theater Makers program. It just works. Okay. It just works. $470 for a year. Then I'm going to upgrade you to stage 3. We have 3 levels: stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. We're going to upgrade you all the way to stage 3. It's going to include all this stuff, including, yeah, you want to get in front of Broadway producers. We do free pitch nights to Broadway producers. We bring them in, you get to practice that pitch. Group coaching calls with me. I do these every quarter. You can sign on. Charlotte says she loved being a member. Thanks, Charlotte. We love having you. Group coaching calls with me. Ask me questions. A lot of the questions you asked tonight, we do this periodically. I'm there for you, so I can bring what I'm learning from the trenches in producing my shows. I've got 5 shows coming to Broadway. I'm going to bring this information back to you. More courses, a sample document library. This is going to save you thousands and thousands of bucks. I don't like lawyers. I'm sorry if there are lawyers on this call, but it's a real, okay, I like lawyers. I don't like paying lawyers because they're very expensive. And when I was getting started, one of the biggest problems I had was I needed stuff from lawyers and they were so expensive and I didn't have the money. So what I've done here is put a whole bunch of templates and things so you can learn from these documents. You can even use them yourself, simple ones. Front money agreements for raising money. Yep, in there. Collaboration agreements, releases if you're doing documentaries or live, like, yeah, Priscilla asked for a non-disclosure form and then we posted it, right? We're constantly adding to whatever it is our folks need. You're going to get that. The value of that alone is $1970 a year. Total value for this package is now $2,440. I think I showed you all this stuff already. We are then going to give you a bonus 2 years. That's right. You're going to get 3 years now. And the reason why we have 3 years is because we found that the average length of time it took for people to really achieve success was 2 years. I told my team, add another year to that, give them 3. Total value of this now $6,380 for 3 years at the stage 3. Okay. I'm also going to give you 2 tickets to our virtual Theater Makers Summit in 2021. One of the most exciting things we do every year. We had 1,000 people show up to the 2020. Here's what it looked like. We have A-list theater makers talking about the theater, talking about how do they achieve success in the theater, how it's going to change, what you can do to achieve the success they have. Join 500 plus. That was the ad for last year. We had 1,000. We're expecting this year to be a lot more. Here's what people say about the conference: life affirming, helped go from wanting to believing, walked away inspired. We're going to give you 2 tickets. The reason we give you 2 tickets is we know a lot of people have collaborators, writers, directors, actors, people who you want to go along this journey with you, accountability buddies, all that stuff. We're going to give you 2. It's virtual wherever you are in the world. Invite your buddy, your fellow theater maker. They can come, all included. Total value of the package now $7,574. I'm going to give you 15 minutes to pitch with me on top of it. Remember I talked about how that Hal Prince moment changed my life? Well, it was 15 minutes. That's it. Out of like respect and homage to him, he gave back so much. We're going to do the same. I'm going to throw you 15 minutes with me. You can ask me anything you want. We'll crush whatever obstacle you have in your way. I'll give you a connection or like something. I guarantee you, I'm going to come up with something that's going to help juice your theater making for sure. It's $331 for every 15 minutes with me. Total value now $7,905.67. I'm going to skip over this very quickly because these are some nice things that people have said about me, and so be it. You're going to get that. You're also going to get 12-month mastermind with like-minded theater goers just like you. So we found that accountability is so important, so important. You need to realize that you're not alone. I hope you realize that tonight by seeing all these people in this chat room right now. We're going to give you that mastermind. If you don't know what a mastermind is, it was started by this guy in the early 1900s, Napoleon Hill, one of the best self-help books of all time. He said, surround yourself with people like you, and you will break through whatever it is you're trying to break through. This is something, it's so unbelievably powerful. We've had a lot of success from the people that have been in our masterminds. You're going to get one. It's an $1,188 value alone. Total value of this package now $9,093.67. This is the type of thing that we also do, adapt to the changing times. When people went streaming, I brought together experts on the streaming channels and how to stream productions. There's a home study course we have. It's a $297 value. You're going to get it included, $9,390.67. And then I'm also going to give you, this is a big one. I'm going to let you audit my Inner Circle program. So this is a group of my serious high flyers. This is the most advanced, and you're going to be able to sit in a room with us and hear me mastermind all their issues and challenges, as well as hear from A-list speakers on Broadway in a very private, intimate setting. And the group that are the Inner Circle group, they're the ones that achieve massive success and fast. You're going to chance to audit that. It's $1,000 just to audit. Total value, $10,390.67. Obviously, we're not charging you that. So let me just get to that right now. I just wanted to spell out the reason why we list it out this way. These are the things, the resources that have proven to be the most successful of all the things we do. Again, this is my team looked at and found this is what gets more people produced. We are not charging you $10,390.67. So let's just get over that, okay? But let me just ask you this. If all the Theater Maker Studio did and all those other items in that package, if all it did was get your show seen by an audience, would it be worth it to you? If it got producers, agents, investors to raise their hands, right? Got to chase you, got them chasing you instead of you chasing them, would it be worth it? And if it got you money for your show instead of using your own, would it be worth it? Yes, says Finn. It would be worth it. This last one alone, I've raised $50 million for shows. You don't think I can give you one tip that could raise you 10,000, 20,000, 50, 100? I could 10x that investment like that, right? And what if it did more? What if it did more? Including, by the way, give back. Like we're doing something right now. I have to share, one of my New Year's resolutions was to give back more and develop the next audience. So when you join tonight, the Theater Maker Studio, we're going to buy a ticket for a public school student in New York City to see a Broadway show, right? Every new member, this is what we do. So add up all the benefits for you and then add in a ticket for a New York City public school student. Would it be worth it? Would it be worth that? We're not charging you that, especially in a pandemic. We're not charging you that. What we are going to charge you is $997 or $332.33. John says in. That's how you get in. Go to that link right now, paste it in the browser. I'm in, says Finn. There's two. Put it, go to that link right now and sign up right now. Because look, it is a new year. It is a new year, okay? And how I look at it is that you have two choices. You have two choices. You can do nothing, right? We talked about this. You can do nothing. We know what will happen. Nothing will happen. Nothing. Or you can take a leap and now take a second and imagine what could happen. What could happen? All the things that you want to have happen could happen. We talked about all those befores. From the big Tony Award winners, there was a time when they were just like you in basements, hoping to be in basements. That can happen when you take a leap, when you take a risk. But let's just talk about that risk for a second. So just in case you didn't think this wasn't coming, it's 100% guaranteed, 100%. You join, you decide, you poke around in 30 days, you're like, this isn't for me. I'm not as committed as I thought. Just send me a note. We'll let you out. We don't want people in it who don't think it's for them. It's no problem. No problem. We're not holding anyone's money hostage. Okay. Right. But you can be a dabbler right now, or you can be a doer. You can send a kid to see a show at the same time. right? And you could start taking action to your goals today. The link is in that chat, okay? Now, I promised you those gifts. That's where you get them. Same link. Just put that link, scroll all the way to the bottom, scroll all the way to bottom, and you're going to see a link to download those books and that action journal, which can help you. All those things that you talked about tonight that you're going to do, we're going to put them in that action journal. Click that link, scroll all the way to the bottom. Okay. I'm going to get to questions. I'm going to get to questions in a minute. Can I pay for my first royalty check, says Nick. I love how you think, Nick. Put it on a credit card. Put it on a credit card and convince them. Convince them. I love it. I love it. Maybe we could talk about ownership in a show. I don't think you want to make those kind of deals with me. I love it. You're going to get that. You're going to get that royalty check when you do this kind of thing. That's the way it happens. We're going to get you that royalty check a lot faster, Nick. I hope you're writing comedies. I hope you're writing comedies. This is what you're going to get again. This is what you're going to get again. That value of $10,000 for $997. Go ahead and click that link. Now, look, here's the thing you do need to know is that this membership site cost me a ton of money to make and run. Here's just to show you, like this is last year, 19. I spent $48,000 just on a rebuild of the site, a rebuild, okay, not the build. We have all these A-listers. They are not cheap when it comes to their master classes with us. So I can't do this forever. Okay, I can't do this forever. In fact, I have to expire this offer by 11:59 on Sunday. Now, after 11:59, if you still want to get it, you can join the annual plan. You just don't get any of those bonuses. All right, you don't get any of that stuff, the tickets to the conference, which you're going to want to go to. I know it. And bonus 15 minutes with me, all that stuff disappears after Sunday night. Disappears after Sunday night. Nick says, I am. I hope that means I'm in. So again, you can get all this bonuses before 11:59. Okay. The other thing you could do if you don't want to do this and you want to learn, I guess you could go to grad school. This is my anti-grad school pitch that costs over $100,000. And let me tell you, I'd put the Theater Maker Studio up against any grad school in any country, any day of the week. And it's partly because of the community of people that are in it. Some of Dunn just joined, said John. Thank you. We'll see you there. You're going to get some emails from us right away. We're going to start you on this path right away. Okay. Again, you could do that kind of thing, or you can just join TMS tonight. Now, look, some of you have joined already. Finn, I'm hooked on joining. Some of you have joined already. And I'm going to do something now for you. Teacher's pet. Linda. So here's what I'm going to do, because this is a pandemic. It's a tough time. I want to see a lot of theater. I have a mission of try to help get 5,000 shows produced by 2025. Some of you may know it. I know this stuff works. I know the biggest objection from folks is that they don't have enough time. The biggest objection is they don't have enough time. So I'm going to do something right now for just a few of you. And a couple of people have already jumped. Kate, about to leap. Leap quick, Kate. Leap quick. Because here's what we're going to do for just a few of you. And yes, John, you're in already. Because when you see this, your eyes are going to light up. I'm going to give you complimentary lifetime access for the first 15 people who join in the next 15 minutes. Complimentary lifetime access. And yes, you're still going to give a kid a ticket to see a show. Okay? Complimentary lifetime access. I'm pulling up my site over here where I can track this because I'm only letting 15. Only letting 15. This is the biggest objection we have for folks. Again, I'm going to throw this. Yes, John, you got it. I'm going to throw that link right there. You're going to get that, and you're going to send a kid to see a show. I'm going to start this timer right now. There we go. I'm going to start this timer, and I'm going to answer questions now. I will answer all. Yes, Priscilla says lifetime. I will answer all the questions, but when the 15 minutes runs out, the lifetime runs out. And we've already got a bunch of people that have already done it. So if this is something you want to do, I'm going to track this on my third monitor. I read somewhere that adding a second monitor to your computer setup increases your productivity by 10%. There's a tip. I added another one. Patty, yes, if you want to upgrade, do me a favor. Click the link, buy the package, email Summer. I'm sure you know Summer. She's very proactive. She'll reach out to you. We're going to settle it all up. We're going to settle it all up. So don't you worry. But the key is to get it now before the 15 minutes are up. Okay. Yes, Susan, you're a new member. You can qualify for the lifetime membership. Go grab it. We will settle you up tomorrow. If you've paid for this month already, it will, you'll get that back. Okay. But you will be able to upgrade. You're in. A lot of people are worried. They're like, oh, I'm already a member. Now I can't. I don't care. I want you to be a member for a lifetime, for God's sakes. I want you to be doing theater forever. I'm going to do it forever. So I want you to do it forever. Yay, says Susan. Welcome, welcome. But do get it quick because the 15 are going fast and I'm only given 15. And now I'm going to go to some questions. I'm going to questions in the Q&A in Zoom, okay? So if you have a question, go to the Q&A, and I've got a whole bunch in there. So I'm going to try to get to them while I watch these roll in. Again, I'm going to throw this link here, okay, for you. There it is. Go get it. All right. My name is Ben. Sip of water. That was a lot of talking. I'm a developing writer. What are some specific ways, institutions, or tools I can use to find an agent? I have no idea where I can go to find someone willing to help champion my work. So this is a very common question. We all want that agent. We all want someone to do a lot of the work for us, to market for us, to call people for us. And Ben, I'm going to tell you this. There will be a time when you need an agent. Okay, you're going to need an agent. You're going to get an agent. Okay, I promise you, you will. That time will be most likely when an agent says, I want to represent you. Because agents, like producers, don't pick up a lot of people from just reading. They also see stuff. That's where they notice new writers. That's where they notice new clients. Get your stuff seen. This is the show don't tell secret. There is a secondary way to get an agent. Like the number one way is to be seen, right? This goes, by the way, if you're an actor, if you're a director, whatever. Agents are theater goers. They see tons of it. They go all over. And when they see something they like, they will pounce because they want to make that money from you. They want to make that money from you. Welcome, says Kevin. Welcome. Kevin says just joined. Patty, you're just logged in. You want to use this. Try to log out and then go back in, okay? So use that one specifically. They pounce on you when they see something they like. So that's one way. Another way is that you get a referral from someone who has an agent. A director says, hey, agency that I work with, here's a writer you should know, or another writer, or an actor. So this goes to that networking component of secret number 2, the marketing. Ben, you should be connecting with all sorts of folks who are theater makers. And when they talk about their agents, ask them, can you make an introduction for me? Okay, can you do that for me? Yes, marketing to agents is important, right? Submitting scripts, all that stuff. Someone said they just, they got one through a website. That's great, okay, that's great. You gotta do it all. You gotta do it all. Most likely when you need one is gonna be waving their hands, someone saying like, I wanna represent you. You can do a lot without one. You can do a lot without one. And the mistake that a lot of people make is they think, once I get an agent, my work is done. It's not. When you get an agent, you often have to work even harder because now you got to motivate the agent. You got to motivate the agent. So keep going, keep getting your work out there, keep getting it seen, whether that's monologues, whether that's whatever. Like I know great stories of people that used to write monologues for people. And actors would audition with them and someone would say, what's that from? Oh, that's from, like, that's the way it happens. Get your stuff out there any way you can. Okay, let me take a look at some of these other questions in here. Most productive way to pitch your script, written or face-to-face? Face-to-face is always the best form of any type of marketing, right? Any type of marketing is face-to-face. Okay, I want you in the room. It goes like this: face-to-face, personal, Zoom, that's the new one, in-person, Zoom, phone, email. That's the order. So let me say, and like, it's so easy for all of us to fall back on email, right? That's what we want to do. It's fast, you get it out there, you feel like you're taking action. When you really want something, the first thing you should try to do from that person is get a face-to-face. Can't get that, get a Zoom. Can't get that, get a phone call. Can't get that, send an email. Send an email. Write a letter. Do them all. Do them all. I see a note. Ooh, sneeze there. I see a note here in the Rick Perkins has some advice about it. Finding a hungry young sub agent in a good agency. That's a great tip. Go after the assistants. This is also a great tip for finding producers. Thank you, Kate, who is also in. 9 minutes left, by the way. 9 minutes left. I'm just checking. Oh boy, we are rolling in now. They are rolling in. We are over halfway there. Over halfway there. So there are only 7 now. Only 7 now lifetime packages remain. Josh Moody says he's in. And I actually don't see Josh Moody's name on my list. So that means there are only 6 now, 6 left. So 6 lifetime packages left. So go ahead and grab that before I'm going to cut that sucker off at 8 minutes. I promise you. I promise you. Because let me tell you something. The site does not exist if I just do lifetimes all the time. This is when my marketing director like slaps me because I didn't shut it off. I'm shutting it off. Otherwise, I'm in big trouble. I won't be able to show up to work tomorrow. Okay. So sub-agents, great. Assistant producers, that's what I was saying. Go after assistant producers. Assistant producers are producers, right? They want to be producers. They want to produce more. They either will, A, if they like it, recommend it to me, or B, take it for themselves. And often you want that person producing more than you want me. They have more time. They have more energy. They're really, really hungry. So I love it. I love it. Okay, let's see. Someone asked what a concept album is. A concept album is, oh yes, Josh, don't be worried. It just takes my system a little bit time to catch up. Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. Let me just throw this back in the chat here so those of you who have it can see it. And Patty, I see you got through there too. Patty's in. So welcome, Patty, to a lifetime membership and those tickets and everything else that you get. 50 minutes. 15 minutes. Josh, I'm going to see you for 15 minutes. Kate, I'm going to see you for 15 minutes. Patty, 15 minutes. I can't wait. I can't wait. Okay, so concept album. Someone asked about what a concept album is. This is basically songs from the show that before the show is produced, right? Again, it goes back to that idea that the root word of musical is music. You need your music to really sell the show. And this concept was started, this concept of a concept album was started with Andrew Lloyd Webber. He did a concept album of Jesus Christ Superstar. If you're a person of a certain age, most likely the first exposure to Superstar was that concept album. He did it again with Evita. Frank Wildhorn used this a lot. I'm seeing more and more folks do this, okay? For musical theater writers, by the way, TikTok is the new YouTube. I talked about Pasek and Paul. TikTok is the new YouTube. It is the place where more and more musical theater writers are being discovered. Oh, Patty, thank you for this. I've really been enjoying the resources on TMS since you joined. Well worth it. Thank you for that. I'm glad you were able to take advantage of this offer. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Andrea says, how do you recommend reaching out to a producer? I recently talked about my one-woman show on Instagram, and I was immediately followed by a producer. Nice. Marketing, marketing, marketing. Social media. Followed by producer. Should I play it cool and not say anything, or should I reach out? What do you think I'm going to say? What do you think I'm going to say? Yes, reach out. Now, this is where what separates the pros from everybody else. Are you going to reach out and say, hey, I saw you followed me. Hey, I saw you were a producer on this show and that show. Hey, will you do my show? Will you do my show? Will you do my show? No, 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 no. It's called social media. It's not sales media, it's social. It's about friends. It's about relationships. Here's what you're going to do. Here's what you're going to do. Did you follow them? Go ahead, Andrea, if you're still there. Did you follow them? Yes, you did. Smart. Have you liked any of their posts? Have you commented on any of their posts? Haha, that's funny. How cute. Whatever. Have you done any of that? I commented on a story that they posted. Great. Keep this up for a little bit. Show them you like what they're doing, right? Let that go on for a little bit. Keep doing it every so often. Don't overdo it, just every once in a while. And then eventually you send them a note. And you know what I want that note to say? I want that note to say anything but you have a show that you're looking for a producer. Hey, I just wanted to say, I saw in your profile that you produced What the Constitution Means to Me. And I just want to tell you, I loved that show. Thank you so much for bringing it to Broadway. You're the type of producer that I love. Whatever, something like that. Flatter them genuinely, right? If you haven't seen it, there's a video of it, or talk about it, whatever, read the reviews. So that's what you do. Give out, give back, push back, right? Show people that you're a fan of them. That's how you get people to be a fan of you. So that's what I would do. And then I'm so glad that was helpful to you. Andrea, have you joined yet? Because there's a ton more where that comes from. So if you think this is helpful, we got to get you into that studio. Okay, let's see here. Kevin, I got 3 minutes and 20 seconds left for those 6 remaining spots left. 6 lifetime memberships left, 3 minutes left. My musical is based on a real life journey trip I took. How do you advise using this personal element the best way? And could it be oversaturated? I want to make sure in the end that I'm marking my show, my experience, and not just, or making my show of my experience and not just my experience. Yeah, Kevin, you just write the best show that you want to write. Like, write what's most personal to you. Often these very personal stories are what works. It's authentic. This is the age of authenticity and transparency and honesty. We've got to show it to people. And yeah, reading it at first, getting some script coverage on it, that kind of thing. We'll see if it resonates, and then we may need to tweak it up. But the first thing you do with any draft, all of you, for many of you who are, you'll learn this in the script mastery course, for those of you who are still in process, the first thing to do is puke up the draft, finish it. I often equate it to throwing it like a big lump of clay in the middle of a room. When you put a big lump of clay in the middle of the room, a sculptor, only then can they create a beautiful sculpture out of it. You got to like get the lump in there first, then we shape it. So don't sweat about it too much, Kevin. Just get it done. Don't make it perfect. Perfect is the enemy of done. We are under 2 minutes now. Under 2 minutes now. Had another one. Had another one. 4 left. 4 left. Maybe there was 2 more. I don't know. But there are 11 here. 11 here. 4 more. 4 more in 1 minute and 40 seconds. If you want it, this is your chance. And then lifetime goes away. Kevin says, how to also, if you can ask 2 questions. Yes. Oh, Nick, welcome. Yes, you were the one. You were the one. You were the 11th. Kevin says, how do I get a collaborator? Right now, I'm trying to write book, music, and lyrics. I need a new set of eyes and ears. You got to jump into a community. I know it sounds like a pitch for the Theater Maker Studio, and it is. We've got 500 writers in our group. We've got 500 writers. Come in, check it out. If you don't find one, let us know. We'll give you a refund. I can't like say it any more simpler than that. You got to get into a community. If ours isn't the community for you, go find one wherever you'd like. Find a community. If you want singer-songwriters, search for singer-songwriters that play your local bar, pub, that have YouTube channels, like do all that stuff. Or you can go to a place where you know there's like the pond has been stocked. That's where you'll find something faster. But Google around. I often tell people to think of shows that they've seen that they like, reach out to that person, try to connect. Hey, are you working on anything new? When shows start happening again, go see a lot of developing shows, emerging shows, sit in the audience when the shows are done, and then look for the writers. Most likely they're there. Most likely they're there. 17 seconds left. 17 seconds is your last chance to get lifetime going. 6, 5, screen froze. Somebody, how dramatic. Priscilla, I see that. So you just do it. I will, oh, there's the beep. Priscilla, I will make sure you get in. I will make sure you get in. For those of us who have lifetimes, it's stage 1 or it's stage 3. It's stage 3. You can't get any higher, except the inner circle. You are in, Josh Moody, at stage 3. You will get it all. Boom, boom, says Josh. Priscilla, I've got you. You should be able to continue the process. If you don't, we'll take care of you, okay? Just try it again. You should be probably partway through. If not, you send me an email, boom again, and we'll take care of you, Priscilla, okay? Especially since you're already a member. Let's see. Finn, I am 12, almost 13. Would you produce me? Is that true? Are you 12, turning 13 years old? That's the most amazing thing. I love it. The future of the theater is right on this webinar tonight. Welcome to Finn. Yes, Finn, I'm going to help you. We're going to help you. We're going to help you. You're going to be, although you're going to be just fine. We're all going to be working for Finn someday. Tammy, I am so glad that this was the reboot you needed. I love it. Goodbye for now. I'm still going to answer the rest of these questions. For those of you who have questions, I'm going to answer it. Finn, we're going to help you. You just email me. It's ken@thetheatermakerstudio.com or anyone out there, and I will answer those questions for you. Josh Moody, for those of you wanting to improve our mindset, not only do you have resources in Theater Maker Studio on that, but what other sources would you recommend? We've got tons of stuff on that. And Josh, if you don't find what you're looking for, I'm a huge mindset guy. We just did a ton of this stuff on our Take Charge of Your 21 Theater Makers Challenge. We do have a productivity time management webinar that I did that is in Theater Maker Studio. So start there. You're going to get, all of you new members, you're going to get a reach out from our community manager. She actually will schedule a success call with you. She's going to talk to you about what you need to achieve success. She'll point you in the right direction if you can't find it on its own. Dorothy, if you're still there, Dorothy, just go to the link and scroll all the way down if you want those books, and you will get them. John Goldsberry, I've written 3 novels. That's lonely. That is lonely. And that's mammoth. Talk about a marathon. I want collaborators to work with. What's the best way to find kindred souls? John, you are in the studio now. I know you're going to find hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. Would you recommend acting classes, says Seth in the chat? Yeah, I'm a big believer. Like, listen, the best way to write for actors is to know what they're going through, to know what they need. I used to think like, ugh, actors, until I started working with really good actors. And when I started working with really good actors, that's when I realized that they could teach me so much about the play, because they ask questions like, hey, Ken, what was my relationship like with my dad? And you're like, I didn't think of that. And you're like, they're like, well, maybe you should. Or the good ones think, here's what I'm thinking. Do you agree? Will that help? And then things really explode. So yes, take some acting classes for sure. Ruth, yes, your lifetime did go through, Ruth. I'm glad to see you back in the studio. You can't get too far away from us. I love it. And I think that is actually all of the questions. So look, I'm going to wrap up tonight. This was fantastic. I hope you have as much fun as I did tonight. This was really great. Thanks for sticking it out with me. I love talking about the theater. I love talking about this stuff. I love talking about making theater and how to make more of it and better of it. And we know the studio does that for people. So I am glad that you have been with us tonight. Don't forget, you may have missed out the on the lifetime. You can still get this amazing package for 3 years for the $9.97. It's only good until this Sunday, 11:59 p.m. You get the tickets to the conference. You get all sorts of stuff. You get 15 minutes with me. You will get it. You get it for 3 years. It's a heck of a lot of time, and you're going to save like $9 grand or something ridiculous. So, and hopefully I won't go out of business in the process. Pandemic special, everybody. Pandemic special. That's the link. I'm going to throw it in the chat one more time before I go, so you can go ahead and grab that. But if you only remember one thing tonight, if you only remember one thing, please remember this: to get produced, you have to learn to act. Those are wise words, and I did not say them. I did not say them. They're Hal Prince's words, and he's the one who knows how to act more than any of us. Finn, use that email, ken@theproducersperspective.com. That'll get to me. Thank you all. You can all use that email as well. Go out and act, do something today. I hope to see you all for our 15 minutes and hope to see you in the Theater Maker Studio. Thanks so much, everybody.